In my right hand, I have a Hermes Lite 2. It's become one of my favorite radios for a multitude of reasons, but today I'd like to show you what I call Hermes thing. That's the intro, let's get started. A few months ago I made a video showing off the Hermes Lite and explaining why I think that it's a pretty cool radio for the price. In the future I will have videos on the ATU 100 and the Micro PA50 used in conjunction with the Hermes Lite. But today we're going to hook up this Spotify car thing. I currently have my Hermes Lite plugged in across the room, and it's plugged into an antenna and then an Ethernet port which goes to a computer. This USB-C cable also goes to that same computer, and all we're going to do now is plug this in and let it boot up. In the description below is a link to a video where I show you how you could jailbreak your Spotify car thing to be utilized with a program called Desk Thing, and then how you could run custom applications on it to include how to utilize AI to build custom applications. I highly recommend checking that out. But here in Desk Thing, now that we have our Spotify car thing hooked up, we are going to start up Thetis Thing. And as you can see listed under apps is Thetis Thing. When I start it up, I can confirm it's actually functional by clicking on the development button or the dev button and watching the logs as they go through. I can see that cat control is happening, and I can see that there's communication to what would be Thetis. At this point, I'm going to also just change my client mapping so that it is set up to be Thetis 2. The hardest part about this whole process is client mapping, and there seems to be some bugs that still need to be worked out in Desk Thing. But let's take a look at what we could do. We currently have our Spotify car thing running. We currently have Desk Thing running and a list of a bunch of commands that Desk Thing and Thetis Thing will be capable of. And we also have our actual Thetis program running. And with all of these running, we're now able to essentially control and cat control our Hermes Lite. Now, as we look at the screen, there are multiple options we could choose from, and this is the main screen that we'll be greeted with. Some of the features on the main VFO screen include a button for TX or RX, meaning you could hit this and we'll start transmitting, and you could hit it one more time to stop transmitting. We could change our bands with the band button. We could change into split mode, RIT on or off, and we could swap between VFO A and VFO B. We could also adjust our mode. For example, right now we're in upper sideband. If we were to tap that, we would be in lower sideband, and then we would go into CW mode, and so on. We also notice that there's a step button, and we could actually adjust the step button by tapping this little button that is below the VFO knob, as I call it, or the scroll wheel. And as we do that, we adjust from 1 Hz to 10 Hz up to a kilohertz or 10 kilohertz for the adjustment. We could utilize these small arrows on the side to do the adjustments, or we could even program the top buttons on the radio to do the same thing. So for example, if I were to hit this one, we would see that the VFO is going down. We could also program the top buttons for pretty much anything that you see within the Desk Thing settings, and we would do that via the mapping options under Clients and Desk Thing. Let's take a look at a couple of the other windows. And one of the other windows that we have is the TX window. Under the TX setting, we could do multiple things. We could adjust our power, our mic gain. We could look at our forward power, our standing wave ratio, turn on or off Vox, and turn on or off comp. And so, for example, we could see that if we hit one of these buttons, comp went off, comp goes on. And for example, we could also hit the tune button. And at that point, it would try to tune up if possible. Next, we'll go to the band button. Under the band options, we can switch in between all of our different bands. One of the issues or a bug that you might see with this though is it doesn't store the last known frequencies. So when you go back to 20 meters, for example, it won't go on the last known frequency, such as whatever sideband we were on, but it defaults to 14.074 or whatever we set within the parameters of the software. This will be fixed in the future and should be fairly easy to do so. Our next option that we're going to click is mode. And if you didn't know already, when we click on mode, basically there we can quickly select which mode we want to go through instead of scrolling through all the modes like we would if we were hitting the button right here. Next window is going to be DSP. under this DSP menu, there still are a couple things to work out, but we could do things like enable or disable our noise blanker. As we enable it, we could see that the noise blanker has enabled. The same thing with our noise reduction. We could turn noise reduction on, and we do need to add a second option for noise reduction too, which is in the software for the car thing, but it doesn't register yet within Thetis. And finally, we could disable the noise reduction. We could turn on our automatic notch filter or turn it off, and we could adjust our automatic gain control as well as our filter and our RIT offset. Next up, we have our memory option, and this one's pretty simple. There's a bunch of memories that we could actually define within DeskThing. For example, in DeskThing, if we go down to our settings option, and in settings, we could set things like our IP address, the port number that Thetis is using, the cat port number, and we could also set our memories, the mode that we're going to be in, and whatever we want the channel to be called. And that's what we're seeing when we're looking on this screen right here. So if I wanted to do a quick swap over to, let's just say I want to go to 40 meters, I could do that by hitting the button. I could go ahead and I can go to memory channel 3, all the way up to 8 different memory channels that are stored. And an implementation that will be occurring soon is the store option, where we should be able to store a memory by clicking store and then clicking on the memory. Next up, we have one of my favorite windows, and that's the POTA option. When we click on POTA, we get a list of the current POTA spots for the mode that we're currently on. So for example, if we're currently on sideband, which we are, we'll get a list of all the sideband modes that are operating parks on the air. And if we click on them, we have now made it so Thetis will go to those frequencies. And there's one more really cool feature I want to show you. Let's go ahead and go back to the VFO real quick. And let's go ahead and program one of those POTA spots into DeskThing. As you can see here, there's something that says POTA Watchlist. It's called Ham Watch, not Ham Alert, Ham Watch. And we could type in multiple names like K8MRD and a comma, or somebody who's currently activating right now. And as we save that and reboot, we get a watch list alert. Right here it says that one of the people within our watch list alert are currently on sideband, and we have the option to dismiss this or to tune to that frequency. I had been thinking about the Spotify card thing for use with ham radio for a while now. And recently I started to utilize AI to start to build these applications, and it's been a really fun and rewarding process to learn about how things work. As you can see, as I go through the applications and the menus, I show you the things, but then I also do discover certain bugs along the way, which utilizing AI, I can continue to fix. If you're interested in Thetis thing, for the Spotify card thing, I'll leave a link to my GitHub below. And if you're wondering, yes, I am working on something for the Raspberry Pi as well. So hey, thanks for watching this channel. If you could do me a favor, you like these kind of videos, hit that like button, hype it up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, take care.